Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network. Yes, it's Couch Pilots, my friends, the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason. I'll be your captain this evening, but you can call me the Black Magic. And across from me is my good friend, Philip Restisher, Captain.
Hello. How are you?
Good. You look very happy despite all of your open wounds and bandages and seemingly self-hatred through the text you send me.
Yeah.
Have you reached a point where you've plateaued into insanity?
I think so. I honestly...
Welcome.
Yesterday during the drive home from our camping trip, I was listing off a number of things that were wrong.
And just in your life in general?
In my life in general. And...
ran out of paper?
And I looked at Molly and I said, even you are part of my problem.
Oh, gee. Even your wife, the stewardess. Wow, good thing she's... doesn't listen to this or anything you do.
So yeah, I kind of had a 7 on a breakdown scale.
Right.
Yesterday, a 10 would be hospitalization.
What now would a 9 be the time that you lost it on one of your podcasts back in the day? Was that a 9? Did you say you blew up?
Yeah, that was a 9.
That was a 9.
Yeah, but spending a lot of money on bandages. I was taking them from the captain's lounge. I was taking the bandages for my arm because I burned it on the tailpipe of the plane.
Yeah, you gotta stay away from that. You really have no business being back there.
I don't know why. I was trying to get some girl's luggage.
Oh, I see how that
and
works.
Tarmac John had left, and I was like, "I'll get your luggage," you know.
They go back there and leaning against the plane
Yep.
like you're all cool business, and then boom.
Bzz.
Boy, well, I hope you heal up nicely. I hope the scars are minimal. Maybe some cocoa butter you could rub on that.
No, it's past that.
You're past the point of cocoa butter?
Three layers of skin have already came off.
Oh, boy. Can you see muscle?
You can see nerve endings.
Is that where the dermis is? Because you got dermis, and then you got epidermis, right?
I don't know all that lingo.
It's just layers of skin.
Lingo mumbo jumbo.
Legal mumbo jumbo.
How are you, though?
I passed the bar. That's how I know all this legal mumbo jumbo. I tell you that much.
You could be on L.A. Law.
I was thinking Franklin and Bash, like when they reboot that in a couple years.
Yeah.
I'll be the Mark Paul Gosselaar.
I think you've got it made. I think.
And I might even be the Breckenmeyer character, too. I'll be both of them.
How about brick and mortar?
Yeah. Do you think Breckenmeyer should open up a restaurant called Breckenmeyer's Brick and Mortar?
Exactly.
I'd go there.
Or they could open up like a remodeling place.
Yeah. Like he could be a contractor?
Yeah.
Great ideas.
Like kitchen cabinets and tile and
I don't even want to talk
flooring.
about failed pilots anymore. Let's just talk about possible business ventures for C-list actors.
That'd be a great podcast.
Hey.
For $5 a month on Libsyn.com, we can do it.
Oh, boy. And should we ever? And so should you. Welcome, all my friends, to Couch Pilots, the show that we fly through the air. We fly through the air for you, and we listen to we watch crappy shows, and then we report back to you because we love you.
It's all about our frequent flyers.
You know what? You're right. At the base of everything, it's just about relationships, whether it's with our frequent flyers, whether it's with a man-made machine such as the Pico.
This is the best
machine.
relationship I have in my life right now. The relationship with my father is horrible.
Right.
The relationship with my grandmother is horrible.
Correct.
The relationship with my son is horrible.
Yep.
The relationship with your daughter is not well.
It's not going well. You took her camping this weekend. She's not a fan of you.
She doesn't like me at all.
I sent her out there knowing that she would come back more appreciative of me, and God damn it if that didn't happen.
So, in a way, I was helping you as a father.
Yeah, that's how we maintain such a great relationship, is that we scratch each other's back in that way. Right? Lower.
Ooh.
To the right.
That was a little too low for my comfort level.
Smell your finger. There it is.
Nice.
Just real quickly before we jump into the show, I saw Tarmac John today. I don't know if you noticed this, but it looks like he's growing like a full beard.
Yeah. And it's such a hot time during the summer to be doing that.
It is an ill-conceived time to do a beard.
But
he's not much of a thinker. He's a doer.
He's a doer. He's a mover and a shaker.
That's right.
But not a thinker.
He knows he's not a chief. He's an Indian, right? He's a follower. He's the guy who says, you know what? I'm gonna be your muscle. You tell me, you point me in the direction, and I'm gonna run as fast as I can.
He's like, I'm gonna tune that guitar for the Led Zeppelin tribute band. I'm gonna, bring all the drums up on the stage.
Yep.
Put them all together.
Point me to the direction of the Kills primer, and I'm gonna whitewash all those trays at McDonald's. And so it's just I think because him and I were looking through Enemy, the old Enemy magazines, the British rock magazines.
No,
no, that's he's got all the old ones because of Led Zeppelin.
Okay,
like he's got a huge cache of them, and again, his 3 jobs afford him this luxury. So we're looking through that, and he's seeing all these beards, and I said, I tell you what, TJ, if I could grow a beard like that, I would.
Sure.
And again, I pointed him in that direction unknowingly, and he ran as fast as he could. And here he is like a week later, and it's really coming in.
That's crazy because I just shaved mine off.
You look great. I don't know why you did it.
Why I shaved it off?
Yeah.
Because now I look like I have 2 chins. It's hot. It's very hot right now.
It is hot.
And so I wanted to look more presentable. As a pilot, you can't look scruffy. People are like, oh, my God.
That's true.
He probably has a bomb.
People can tolerate that out of a tarmac worker such as John, but they don't want to see that in their pilot.
Right, exactly.
So,
but all the more, but he's got to keep it trimmed up. I mean, that's policy and procedure.
Oh, for sure.
We can't just let it grow out.
I think he's got a pretty nice Norelco that he uses. He's got the setting on 2 or 3.
Sure,
so
2 is fine.
He's keeping it tight.
Because I worry about it, getting singed by our jet fuel when we go by.
Oh, sure.
If he's too close,
yeah, then you lose that and so much more. And the smell of burning hair is just awful.
Oh, nothing worse. Nothing worse.
So here's to you, Tarmac John. For
the only thing worse.
What's that?
The crystal cube.
That
right. Smelled worse.
Call back to a terrible, terrible pilot. Let's board this plane together. Oh, actually, grab my hand. Let's.
Okay.
There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
To me, she just sounds angry. Like, that's the same recording we've used for 35 episodes, but I know how mad she is at me right now. And it sounds like she's angry.
Well, I left, when I first came in, she was leaving. So, was she mad at that time?
No.
Okay, so things have cooled
We've had
cooled
made-up
down.
sex.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
I find that if I get in an argument with her early enough in the day, I'm going to get sex that night. But if I get in an argument with her like in the late afternoon, I'm screwed.
That's only argument related. Is that the only sex you have anymore? Or?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, we've been married. We're married. It's only make-up sex and angry sex.
Oh, okay. I have so much to learn from you. So if this is your first time tuning in, which, let's be honest, it probably is. Welcome to...
It'll be the last.
Yeah, that's why we only have first-time listeners. Welcome to Couch Pilots, where Blake and I put this aircraft on autopilot while we discuss and dissect television shows that had only 1 episode. We are honest-to-goodness airline pilots who watch honest-to-goodness failed pilots, and that's the way we like them.
That's straight, and that's really cut. That's a good summary.
Thank you. I take pride in my summaries. I pump them out in 30, 40 seconds. I type them into this Excel sheet, and then I read them back to our frequent flyers. God bless all of you.
God bless you.
You're racking up those points. So what show are we discussing today? Today we discussed the pilot episode of Global Frequency from the year of our Lord, 2005.
Whew.
What a great year.
Very good year.
Incredible year. And I always like to say what happened that year. Because it's very easy for us to just jump right in and give you interesting facts or plot points.
But I think you have to mold. You have to make the mold for this pilot. You have to know what's going on in the world when this pilot came out, because that's going to help you decide what your rating is going to be.
Right. A lot of times, people, I want them to sit back, close their eyes, and picture themselves in the year 2005. And what better way for me to do that and then to touch on some of the more popular events, some stories, some of the things that were happening then.
Pop culture.
Touch points, touchstones.
Touchstone Pictures, yep.
Touchstones Pictures presents Global Frequency. So, yeah, a lot of you are probably like, just get on with it. Talk about the gosh darn pilots already. We know what's best for you, and that's why we don't dive right in.
Right. We have a rule that we have between 10 and 15 minutes of banter.
Right.
Right now we're at 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So you know what? If we want to, we can banter for another 5 minutes, and we're not breaking the rules.
We may or may not do it. Well, we want to ease you in, like that member of NWA. You'll appreciate it more that way, right?
Exactly.
Hurricane Katrina
Ooh,
strikes
cold.
the Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama coastal areas. Levees separating the Lake Pontchartrain, I guess,
Pontchartrain.
from New Orleans, Louisiana, were breached by the surge, ultimately flooding 80% of the city of New Orleans, and 1,600 perished in Hurricane Katrina.
Making the Louisiana Purchase the biggest catastrophe in life. I mean, in the continental United States.
So the fact that we purchased all that land, and this happened on that land.
Right, exactly. Like, we didn't, if we would have known then what we know in 2005,
Right.
would there be dead bodies floating around?
Who wants that?
We would not have purchased it from the, you know?
France really got us on that one.
France always fucks us over.
Boy.
French fries, French toast,
French doors.
French women.
I don't know.
Don't shave their fucking armpits.
Why not?
I think it is because over in Europe and in France, dirty is sexy. You know, like the scent of like
The musk.
The musk.
scent of a person.
right. That's a big thing over there. Like, you know, like here we want to smell good. There's this asshole that I work with all the time that I really don't like, and 3 times a day he sprays cologne on himself. It's 100 degrees in that factory. There's really no need to put cologne on yourself.
This is the same guy that asked you for $1 all
Fuck
the time?
yeah.
Jeez.
I got tons of stories for him, about
Oh,
him.
my God.
But in France, they want to smell that way. And so I think the women, they don't shave their armpits or a lot of times they don't even trim their hoo-has.
I can't imagine a world where hoo-has are running
Do you
wild.
remember a time when hoo-has weren't taken care of in your life? Like when you were
I think the
sexually
first,
active?
the first couple girls when I was pretty young, they were unwieldy. And I think it was right during that transition where it's like, hey, let's lose all of it.
Right.
Let's get down there
Thank
and just
God
rip it all out.
Thank God we were raised in that, because I was having sex 6 years before you were.
Right.
And let me tell you, it was not
It's
as
just
it was not as kosher and as
the Wild West of pubic
it
hair.
was the Wild West of pubic hair.
I don't mind a little bit, right? I don't mind a little bit, but if I get down
Like a
there,
landing strip.
sure, nice, fits in pretty well with the theme of the show, I'd say. But if I go down there and I come up with a mouthful of Brillo, you know, I'll pass. Thank you.
Sure.
So
I mean, there's cleaning out your nostrils and there's cleaning the plaque off your teeth. There's 2 different things.
that's right. Good segue into the video sharing website. YouTube was founded.
Speaking of YouTube,
Yeah.
very important. I want to make an announcement.
Okay.
We are releasing every episode, the video for every episode,
Right.
on our YouTube page. Just type in Couch Pilots Podcast. But also, every single episode that we've ever done for Couch Pilots is available on YouTube in audio form.
How many more ways can we give this to you?
I don't. However many more ways Libsyn gives me the option, because I'm iHeartRadio, YouTube, Google Play,
Stitcher,
iTunes,
anywhere where podcasts are available, we'll be there.
Anywhere you want it, that's where we'll be.
That's the what? What's that song?
Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. Oh.
I think there's going to be a point where there is one format per person listening.
I think what's going to end up happening is we're just going to go to everyone's house. I really have a wild
Pubic hair up your ass?
a wild pubic hair between my teeth that we're going to start live doing this show, and I don't want to do that.
I'm not doing that.
Okay.
Pope John Paul II dies.
Ooh.
Over 4 million people travel to the Vatican to mourn him. Are you a Pope guy?
No.
Did you grow up in the church whatsoever?
I was baptized Lutheran, but I joined the Lutheran church to play basketball.
That's a good reason to join. To join any.
Yeah. Well, it was like
denomination?
I wanted to play on the team, but I had to go through the little classes thing to be able to play on the team.
Because you had to be a member of the church.
Right, to play in the church league.
I went to a church for a long time, was never an official member, which I didn't understand. I was like, hey, you know what? If I've been coming here for 10 plus years,
All right,
I think I'm in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in with the Christ child.
I've never taken a pencil from this place.
The church I was part of was the Free Methodist.
Oh.
So I'm not really a Catholic. My grandparents, R.I.P. both, they were Catholics, and now they're with Christ in heaven.
Thank God.
Thank God. But I was never like the Pope. I was like, hey, it's an
old guy.
It's a weird thing.
Old guy with a funny car.
A funny car.
4 million people came to one area. How many? When you die, how many? Honestly, okay, the visitation and a funeral are two different things.
Correct.
Visitation and funeral combined. How many people do you think are going to attend your funeral?
I would have between 8 and 9.
Yeah. I'm going to say 13 for me.
That's good.
Lucky
Lucky 13.
I think it would be more, but most of my friends don't live anywhere around me.
Yeah.
So hopefully you don't die before I do, because I might have to make that number 12.
I won't die before you. That is set in stone.
All right. What else got going?
Films: Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Batman Begins.
With Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Brokeback Mountain.
Loved it.
It was good.
Loved Brokeback Mountain.
It was good. It was really good.
I felt uncomfortable during it, which you should. But I really think that if those two guys were podcasters,
Yeah.
it would be like I would be Jake Gyllenhaal and you would be River Phoenix.
Because those are the people who are in that movie.
One of them I got to be right in one of them.
I remember the first season of South Park, and they had like a film festival in South Park. They were kind of playing on the Sundance Movie Festival, and they're saying, "Ooh, this festival's coming to our town in South Park, and it's ruining the town." And one of the films, or maybe a handful of films, were all about gay cowboys, because that was like the indie film gay cliche. And this was a mainstream movie about gay cowboys. Why would they make a mainstream movie about such a cliche? Why would they do that? It turned out to be a good movie.
Oh, because right after that, gay people could get married.
Oh, perfect.
Mostly cowboys.
So Ang Lee, the director, the Chinaman director of Brokeback Mountain, essentially ushered the way for homosexual marriage in this country.
Yep. There was parts of that movie that were uncomfortable, but also it showed a love and devotion between two human beings.
Which part was uncomfortable? Like the anal sex?
The anal sex in the tent.
The man-on-man anal sex?
The forceful anal sex. It wasn't even like, hey, come hither. It was, I'm going to do this to you, and whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
It was almost rape.
I think he spit on his hand first.
Oh, well, that's cool. Okay, I didn't see that part of it.
It was Michelle Williams and Anne Hathaway, I think, were the wives. And I think at least one of them women got naked. That'll put you back at 0. Right?
Yeah, I went to a bar not too long ago that had that movie poster up on the wall.
Really?
Yeah, it was a gay bar.
Which one? Locally?
In Bloomington.
Huh.
Brett Conlon played there.
Brett Conlon played a gay bar.
Uh-huh.
Huh. Interesting. I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with my sexuality. That it didn't bother me.
I'm pretty comfortable with your sexuality, too. Batman Begins, I like that. I thought it was pretty good.
Which one's that?
That was the first one with...
The Joker is Jack Nicklaus?
No. Are you... Jack Nicklaus, the golfer...
Jack Nicholson.
And Michael Keaton. That was from '89.
You like the Michael Keaton one?
Sure. This one, Batman Begins. This is the one with. This is the.
Get so mad at me.
I don't understand how you can think we're talking about 2005 here, and we're talking about the Jack Nicklaus golf version of Batman. This is the one with. This is the first of the Chris Nolan series with Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
You don't like that? Those are so good. Liam Neeson's in there.
Two-Face.
He was in the second one.
Okay, I'm getting close.
Charlie and the Chocolate
Bane.
Factory. I think that sucked. I don't know why. I don't understand your taste in movies. Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. I thought that was pretty good. You don't like that?
No.
There's stormtroopers in it.
Stormtroopers hitting the ground. I like just. I love anything with a stormtrooper, but I don't.
Music-wise, Green Day. That was
Dookie.
no. Oh my God! What is going on with you? That was like 10 years before this. Whoops. No, that was when
American Idiot.
Right. That's when they kind of had that resurgence.
Yeah.
And to me, anytime a band over the course of like 10 years has a second resurgence like that, they've kind of cemented themselves as a legacy act.
I even saw that play. You said you saw it too.
Yeah,
you said you didn't like it.
No, it sucked.
No.
50 Cent, Rascal Flatts. There's something up your alley.
Jesus. Yeah, up my alley. Whatever. That was worse than Brokeback Mountain. I would rather watch Brokeback Mountain 100 times than listen to Rascal Flatts.
I genuinely liked Brokeback Mountain, and I would never want to listen to Rascal Flatts.
That's what I'm trying to say to you.
But you almost made it sound like they're both bad. And of
no,
the two
I'm saying
evils,
I would rather...
You'd rather do something that you enjoy than something you dislike? That's what it sounds like you're saying.
Okay.
The Killers.
I never got into them.
I think they're all right. They're a self-important band. Guns N' Roses, 2005.
Wow, that must have been
Chinaman Democracy, but that wasn't a popular album.
No, but it was a big deal. It took like forever to make it. It's like 12 hours long.
This name is on Hillary Duff. You remember her?
Mm-hmm. I consider her like one of those Disney mall musicians.
I couldn't name one song she sang.
No, but I remember.
She wasn't a popular. All right, so how old were you in 2005?
30 years old.
30
years old. That was
the big 3-0.
Big 3-0.
24. I was
Nice.
24.
Your life was still ahead of you.
Yeah, I mean, not now, personally.
No, your life's over.
Flush the toilet.
You're podcasting with a loser friend.
Uh-huh. So why did we choose global frequency for Couch Pilots?
Simple. There's 3 criteria and a phantom. Mm-hmm. 1, it was a failed pilot that never made it to series, which is the most important one, basically.
Very important.
Second one, it was free.
Yep.
And 3, we found it. We could find it.
That's right.
And the phantom is that it was in the aughts. Right in the smack dab in the middle of the aughts.
And we're right smack dab in the middle of our 4th season of Couch Pilots. We've blasted through 10 episodes of the 70s, 10 of the 80s, 10 of the 90s, and here we are mid-aughts.
Mid-blast.
Mid-blast. So where can you blast yourself to find this show? You can find the entire episode by subscribing to Couch Pilots in iTunes or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to dailymotion.com and search Global Frequency. It's there for you to find. But if for my money, subscribe to our show, click on our show notes. It'll be right there in that blue link.
Yeah, and listen, folks, the best thing to do is go ahead and just go on iTunes or your podcast app of choice and push the subscribe button. That way you don't have to go, oh, it's Monday, and there's a new Couch Pilots. Just push subscribe.
Our show will pop up right there. All the show notes for that current week.
Everything's going to be perfect.
The episode that we're watching is right there. The episode for next week we're going to cover is right there, too. It's all right. And the best thing of all is, in this world of cyber crimes, these are blue links that have the Couch Pilot guarantee of safety.
Sure.
And once you click that, it's going to take you directly to the pilot. And don't worry about anything else. Your computer's safe in our hands.
Push subscribe. It solves all your problems. Mm-hmm. You don't have to click anything.
Yep, I agree with that completely. So let's take the plane off into the air.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
That sounds really good for some reason.
Well, it's all your expensive recording equipment.
It sounds really good tonight.
Buh.
I love it. It's my favorite of the drops.
All right, let's hear it again.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
God, it sounds great.
I know why. This is my guess. A lot of marital turmoil. Every one of these drops is your wife talking.
That's true.
This is the only one that isn't. Nailed it?
It's my Brokeback drop.
High five it. Nice. Summary of the plot. Or the pilot. Both. The global frequency is everywhere and nowhere, and it's mankind's best defense against everything that occurs outside our peripheral vision.
Intense.
Vague, but vaguely accurate.
Mm-hmm. It's very intense. At first, when you told me that was a summary, before I watched it, I was intimidated. I'm not going to lie. I was a little intimidated.
There's a lot of room for big stuff to happen in that summary.
Right. So, and right now in my life, I can't handle big stuff.
Well, tell me what you can handle. What can I give you to handle?
Just getting through this episode.
Oh, no.
That's all I can do. Is like, if I get through this episode without crying, screaming, or throwing something, if you get the plane up, and
which I can.
And if you get the plane down,
I can do that.
Lord hopes I can do the rest of it.
Put on autopilot, man. Kick back and relax.
The autopilot button doesn't work.
Uh-oh. Can't rely on that. I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll bring Blake some chips and salsa tonight. He seems like he's in a rough mood. I'll give him some chips and salsa. I opted for the Concord Grape
Love it.
craft soda instead.
I'm going to have it for the second episode.
Fantastic. Let it cool down right now.
Huh? Yeah. It has to be, due to Drunken Lullabies, tells me it has to be at an optimum temperature of 45 degrees.
You and I just recorded an episode. It was just you and I and Dustin for Drunken Lullabies. And you're not a booze guy. You don't drink beer. So we drank craft soda.
We almost died.
I felt terrible.
The next day, I felt horrible. Like I had a crash. I had a huge crash, sugar crash, and it was awful.
I love Coca-Cola. We drank all these different fruity drinks. I felt horrible. I felt most of the time I feel worse than when I drink booze.
Yep.
It was awful.
That's sugar cane will do it to you.
Oh my God. All right. Well, hopefully we'll lift everyone's spirits by getting into one of our most polarizing segments, Interesting Facts, where we talk about things that happen behind the scenes. So, Global Frequency. After viewing the pilot, executive... let me just stop right there.
Why are you stopping?
Interesting Facts. I don't want to go into this blind. I think I take for granted sometimes that people know exactly what the segment is about. But in fact, maybe many people do not. The Interesting Facts section is where we deliver facts to you. And all of our listeners, they probably will think, oh, that was interesting, or that was great, or I didn't care for that one. But here's the truth. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what you think about these facts. I don't want to hear about what you have to say about them.
If we wouldn't have already put so much money into making signs that says Interesting Facts,
right,
and on our business cards said Interesting Facts, and on the Couch Pilots T-shirts says Interesting Facts, if we had to spend all that money, we would call it Dumb Facts we don't fucking care about.
Or just or Facts. Fact section. The title of the section has ran away from us, essentially. Yep. But
it became bigger than us.
Absolutely. And these are they're set in stone.
Like a gremlin. It's like a gremlin.
It's like wet. When a gremlin gets bigger than you.
When it gets wet.
Oh, okay.
Or you feed it after midnight. You can't handle it anymore.
You feed it after midnight and they turn into gremlins. You get it wet and they multiply, right? You get the mogwai wet and little balls pop out of them. Yeah? And then Corey Feldman knocks over your glass of water.
Fucking asshole. Corey Haim, on the other end,
sold his teeth on eBay, and then he died. Yeah,
R.I.P.
He was in a really bad spot.
R.I.P.
For sure.
Drugs will do it to you.
The interesting facts are set in stone. Nothing you say about them is going to change what they are. Take them in, receive them, think whatever you want, but don't you dare verbalize. Don't put it on our Facebook page. I don't care what you think about these facts.
Definitely don't tweet us at Couch Pilots Podcast and put, those facts were interesting.
Nope,
hashtag.
We don't like that.
Hashtag interesting facts. Please don't do that.
We're not going to do it to you.
Don't do it with a picture. Don't post a picture of you saying that.
Right.
A meme or a GIF or something.
Would it get you a lot of frequent flyer points if you did? Yeah.
You would get so many surprise prizes. We would have to hand deliver them. But don't do it.
No, we're begging you, please. After viewing the pilot, executives at the WB channel decided not to put the series into production, and it was shelved. The pilot only saw the light of day when it was leaked onto the internet and distributed using the BitTorrent protocol. Incidentally, the first time an unaired pilot television program was released to the public in this way. Despite campaigning from fans, the WB stuck by the decision to pass on the television series.
In a way, that fact is important to Couch Pilots and the seed of Couch Pilots. It was leaked. It was one of the first pilots ever leaked, right?
Right.
Okay, so if it met the criteria before any other show that we will ever do,
yeah.
If it wasn't for Global Frequency, we might not be doing this podcast.
All things point back to Global Frequency at this point.
You know what? We're fucking part of the Global Frequency.
You and I definitely are part of it.
So awesome.
I wouldn't necessarily put it out there the way you're doing, but yeah, we definitely are.
I mean, whatever.
It's like
it's cool.
It's just a TV show.
It's a TV show that's good.
6 Degrees of Global Frequency. Mark Burnett prepared Global Frequency television series for 2005. He specifically did it for that year.
Sure.
The characters of Sean Flynn, an ex-policeman who accidentally stumbled on a Global Frequency mission, and Katrina Finch, a brilliant scientist with expertise in multiple fields, were created especially for the series. They weren't part of it because this is originally a comic book.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Unlike the comic book, however,
interesting.
I don't even know why I waste my time. You know what? Everything's on a spreadsheet here. It's really easy for me to highlight all these lines and just right-click and delete. And then we don't have to do interesting facts ever again. Is that the kind of world you want to live in?
No, I don't want to. We have a.
Then what are you doing?
It was interesting, Jason. Sometimes facts are interesting. I can't hide it anymore. Sometimes these facts I find interesting.
But how can we tell our viewers and our listeners?
Nobody listens. We don't have to tell anybody anything.
How can we tell no one nothing if you're just going to turn around and do the opposite?
I keep this when the plane is up. Okay, if it's not going up and it's not going down, I'm flying.
Or international airs.
International airspaces is okay. You give all this facts.
Yeah, there's a lot here.
And this one was interesting. I didn't know that was a comic book. Just read the damn things. God.
Really disappointed.
You can be an asshole sometimes.
Enjoy your grape soda.
Fuck me, right?
Unlike the comic book, which had an ever-changing cast of field agents, Flynn and Finch were to be regulars along with Zero and Aleph, with other frequency members coming in as and when necessary in supporting roles. This would allow for the character continuity expected of a television series, and yet allow other characters to be killed off as in the comic book. So I think what it says there is like, hey, this is just like the old Star Trek.
Yep.
You got 6 characters wandering around a planet and a 7th guy you never seen before. Who's getting killed?
Yep. The 7th guy is going to get killed.
Go ahead, please.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Just complimenting you. Do you want to end this now?
What I want to do is...
I'm just going to pull the plug on this Zoom H4n.
I want to give you a jackknife power bomb through our console here. And I'm going to take the plane down.
And you know what? That's going to be the most listened to and the most viewed fucking video.
The end of Couch Pilots?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to jump in the black box because the black box always survives.
Oh, yeah.
And then there'll just be fire raining down from the heavens.
We definitely need to... You know what? Speaking of that black box, I don't think we've had it serviced. It's like a fire extinguisher.
Usually they put those elastic bands around it to keep it in one place.
Bungee cord?
It's rumbling around the back. Every time we turn,
I'll make a note. I'll look into it.
Thank you. A pilot episode based heavily on the first issue of the comic book was produced, but the WB, the original intended network, did not commission the series. John Rogers was the principal creative force behind the television incarnation, writing the pilot episode, with Ellis credited as the producer and creator. That is Warren Ellis. Other writers waiting to come aboard included David Slack, Ben Edlund, and Diego Gutierrez. The pilot was directed by Nelson McCormick.
Cool.
I guess. The unaired pilot was leaked to the internet in June 2005 and continues to be downloaded and shared primarily via BitTorrent and other P2P networks. Although it was popular and critically acclaimed, according to Warren Ellis, the creator of the comic book himself, the leaking of the pilot annoyed Warner Brothers to the extent that they killed the project.
That's stupid.
That's his take on it, I guess.
That's dumb, though, by the standards of Warner Brothers. Like, here's something that people want to see.
Right.
Just put it out. You've already filmed it. Just put it out.
So some of these pilots are so expensive. Why not make
this one had to have been. This one had to have been.
I
expensive.
would think it would be pretty pricey. And I'd also say, why not just make like 6 of them? Put it on during the summer, the dumping ground, see if it garners any kind of traction at all. You know,
Yeah.
Even if it's a year later. We've talked about shows that have been released 2-3 years later that were held up for whatever reason.
Sure.
To fill some sort of contractual obligation or whatever. But why? I don't understand why some of these things just don't air. In November of 2009, Production Weekly's Twitter revealed that a new television adaptation of Global Frequency was being worked on by the CW television network with writer Scott Nimmerfro. I don't know.
Nothing from Nimmerfro, in my opinion.
In November of 2014, this is fairly recently, it was announced that Fox was producing a new Global Frequency pilot produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and written by...
Oh, that's the one who...
Con Air? I think he's
No. It was a movie where she took on some chemical people, waste people.
Played by Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts.
Jerry Bruckheimer?
Yep.
Yeah, she took, notably garnered fame and acclaim for going against the oil companies and then started making
adaptations of Global Frequency.
That's right. In February of 2015, BleedingCool.com revealed that Fox will not order the pilot for Global Frequency due to the script. Personally, I would go to IMDb and I type in Global Frequency, and there's the version that we watched, and then there's something like in production right underneath it. So I feel like there is some sort of remaining interest to do something with this intellectual property.
Could be. Maybe they're taking the houses, going to turn them into hotels.
Maybe that's how the monocle man from Monopoly did it. Now, this is a new segment of the show. This is ostensibly called Twitter Responses.
That's pretty original.
Fairly original. 2 words by themselves mean nothing. Together, powerful. We started taking a more proactive role in contacting those involved with the pilots that we're discussing, and this week we heard from a few folks. We first reached out to Warren Ellis, who has spent a lot of time in the world of comics and wrote the comic book Global Frequency, and should rightfully have his name attached to any future incarnation, whether or not he has any direct involvement with it. And when asked for anything fun or any interesting tidbits, Warren directed us to John Rogers, who was credited as the other writer for the pilot. John Rogers is a seasoned writer for such movies as Transformers, Catwoman, The Core, as well as a few television shows, including I think it was on TNT, Leverage.
Mm-hmm. He is probably up there with Michael Ian Black in regards to contributors to the show.
Friend of the show. And Micah Wright, too.
Micah Wright? He was like the head honcho on the list.
Yeah.
And I think what we're going to do when we get to the new Couch Pilot Studios, hopefully someday,
right,
on the wall, we're going to put everybody's pictures.
Wall of Fame.
Wall of Fame.
Yeah, Twitter Wall of Fame for sure.
Twitter fame.
Twitter famous. John Rogers had this to say. He sent us an email because we contacted him and he's like, "Hey, drop me your email address and I'll unload some inside knowledge." So we honest to goodness are getting some inside stuff on Global Frequency. Sure. Maybe things that no one knows about it. So he had this to say. He says, "Hey guys, hope you dig the semi-legendary unaired pilot, one of the first leaked. Later they started leaking pilots intentionally for buzz, but they were not happy when this got out. Anyway, a couple of quick notes. Jenny Baird is Australian. Now, this is the girl who played Katrina Finch.
Okay.
The really beautiful
buxom blonde.
She's in your eyes, the buxom blonde. Obviously, absolutely. He says she never breaks her accent when she's doing a U.S. accent. So I was a little shocked to hear her speak in her native accent for the first time after rap. And you know what? I get that. I'm not an actor.
Sure.
But I think if I was trying to maintain an accent, I couldn't be able to wobble back and forth without screwing it up or mushing it up.
Sure. You got to go in head first and stay there.
Amy Garcia is still a pal. Now this, talk about beautiful people. This is the Mexican lady who was sitting in front of all the computers at the control station.
Beautiful.
She started on Dexter. I don't know if you ever watched Dexter, but she was on a few seasons of Dexter. And yeah, she's her name was Aleph, I think, on the show, or Aleph or something. And she was the one basically at the control center of Global Frequency doing all the computer hacking.
She had the most beautiful eyes.
She's a gorgeous woman.
A+ to you.
Thank you.
No, to her.
Oh. Amy Garcia tells me that she still gets fan mail about this unaired pilot 12 years later. Wow. So here's the thing. Warren, the creator of Global Frequency, the comic, Warren Ellis, is a cranky old English monster who writes very cynical stuff. But it's got the luxury of being cynical because at the center of each concept is a pure beating heart that drives the piece. It's optimistic dystopia. So, semi-high praise.
Yes.
When you watch the pilot, you'll see a scene where Amy Garcia, who does speak a couple of languages, calls in all the agents. They then do a round robin of all the experts chiming in from all around the world trying to save the city. Nelson McCormick, the director, had those people who are on the screens come into the set and do it live, so we could get the timing right on Amy and Michelle's reactions and conversation. Cool. Now, this is a part where they're trying to figure out who this guy is. They thought it was an English or an American guy. He turns out to be a Russian dude.
So they were like, we got to find all the information about this Russian guy.
So they put it out to all these agents, and so this is the scene where they're going through all of them.
Put it out on a global frequency.
That's exactly right. They say, so we do the first take in the middle of the night because the experts are there just out of the sight line, and it plays like a play would play. It plays in real time as if actually happening, and we don't break for a shot. We do the scene all the way through for coverage. The director, Nelson, calls cut, and I'm about to step out into the soundstage, and I stop. The stage is silent. The crew is silent, except, and I'm not kidding, some people are crying. I turn to the young woman next to me, tears in her eyes, and she says, "What if it was real? What if we could really help each other like that?" For 2.5 minutes in a warehouse in Vancouver, apparently that's where they filmed, the Global Frequency was real, and the beauty of the idea literally shattered people. That's a hell of a thing. That to me is amazing. That's the heart of this email. That's some really interesting stuff.
You could have dug through the internet looking for this, and you wouldn't have found that.
You would not have found it. This is the only place you can get an exclusive just like this. And to a degree, I get it. You know, I think when you have people invested in an idea, invested in their characters, and there's a powerful moment like that, and everyone nails it, I feel like the suspension of disbelief remains, and you feel like this is happening.
Sure.
This feels real, and you can get caught up. And when the woman says, what if you could help each other like that? What if you could put something out immediately to the world and get that kind of immediate response? Pretty intense.
We try, but
the pilot tested well, and we were actually allowed to hire a small staff to break stories. Included on the staff was the legendary TV writer Ben Edlund, who wrote all your favorite episodes of every genre show. Seriously, look it up, is what he says. We had a day of story pitching. It was going fine, and Ben said, I have an idea, kind of half an idea. I, feeling very magnanimous and showrunnery, said, no problem, Ben, let's hear it. And he then pitched a story so goddamn brilliant that I was left biting my fist, trying not to show fear. Never show fear in your own writer's room. Another great story. Where else are you going to hear that?
Exactly.
And honestly, I've got some information about this Ben Edlund, and he's right. He is a legend. The show then fell victim to a network president change in the middle of the process. The WB was about to be folded into the CW with UPN, so our boss was out. The show was shuttered on the judgment of a guy who held the job for 4 months or so during the merger. That's television.
It's amazing that one person can shut down a whole production of a show that's already been filmed.
Right.
Like, can shut it down.
Right.
Like, you and I don't even have that power, and this is our show.
That's right. We couldn't shut it down. This thing is the momentum
It's
is
so
too
much
great.
bigger than us.
That's right.
It's so much bigger than us right now.
It truly is. Okay.
All 40 downloads. No.
He mentioned Ben Edlund, one of the writers that they brought on board once they thought they were going to be picked up, so they could start creating some more stories. And this guy is legit. He's a legit legend. He would have been an incredible asset to Global Frequency had it survived. He's produced such great television shows such as Gotham, which I do watch and I do like that show. The Tick. The Tick is a bizarre. Are you familiar with The Tick?
I know of it, but I have never watched it.
It was a show on Fox in the early to mid-'90s, and it was a very bizarre, kind of a meta superhero show where it showed superheroes dressed as superheroes all the time in their daily life in a coffee shop. The Tick was this massive brute of a man who's like totally dumb.
Deep voice.
I don't know who voiced him in the original, but Patrick Warburton played him a few years later in a live-action version, and now they're creating a new one, and this guy, Ben Edlund, has been a part of all three of those projects.
Amazing.
Pretty
now,
amazing.
I can say that's an interesting fact because we're on the Twitter response.
And I'm totally cool with it, man. Totally cool with it. He's also a part of shows such as Supernatural, Titan AE, the legendary Firefly, Angel, and has written for such shows as everything we mentioned. Or so he produced those shows, but he's also written for shows for everything that we've already mentioned, plus Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and something very close to my heart, The Venture Brothers.
Cool. So
a total like that. The show could have been legendary.
And you're probably thinking to yourself, listeners, right now, like these guys have stepped up their game
For sure.
and all this information. Great, John. Kudos to you.
John Rogers, big ups.
But guess what? There's more.
There is more. So these are guys behind the scenes, the creative forces, the people who put the words on the paper and then they push them over to the stars and they say, bring my words to life. Yes. One of the stars, Josh Hopkins, you may know him from his 7 years on Cougar Town opposite Courtney Cox.
Molly, when Molly found out that he tweeted us and we were having a conversation with him, she's
out right now buying new jeans.
Yeah, she's in love with the guy. I'm like, honey, you got this right here. And she's like, exactly.
Josh Hopkins, I think he was pretty good in the show and a very handsome guy.
Very handsome.
I'll Brokeback his mountain any day of the week.
You know, when he tweeted us back and I said to you, oh my gosh, he was in Cougar Town.
This is funny.
He kissed Courtney Cox. Courtney Cox danced on stage with Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
We're famous.
I like that.
The 7 degrees of separation.
Like you have how this show started basically thanks to things that were leaked because of low frequency. Everything fame-wise to you has to go through Bruce Springsteen. Or at least the Max Weinberg 7. Or at least. So he says he had this to say. Because basically when we reach out to people, we say, hey, this is our show. This is what we do. you being involved with it, do you have anything interesting or fun you'd like to contribute?
Sure.
And he says, I think this is awesome. Happy to chat. Would also recommend LA Confidential. Both could have been good shows. And GD it if a couple weeks ago we didn't release an episode about LA Confidential.
Exactly.
This guy knows what's up.
This guy knows what's up.
This guy's a true bro.
And he is no Mason Reese, let me tell you that. This guy...
And let's please close the door
Jeez.
and the book forever on Mason Reese. Jenny Baird, again, the Kate Finch.
Now, she had blonde hair in the show.
Right.
Her Twitter handle she has black hair.
That's fine.
And I'm just letting people know.
Sure.
Okay.
She's a beautiful Australian actress who starred in the show, and she's been in a lot of things that are mainly Australian-based, so a lot of Aussies probably know her. She had this to say, if only it had lived. And she's right. And then Josh Hopkins and Jenny Baird seem to have some sort of mini reunion.
Right.
And we're tagging
because
us
of us.
Yeah, and honestly, that's really what Couch Pilots is at its core, bringing people together.
Bring people together. Like, people would say, guys, 45 minutes. You've never even talked about the show. But in actuality, we've given you more information about this pilot than anyone we've ever done.
Yep. And, of course, if you want to join in on our Twitter conversation and follow us like Constant Pain, the cartoon creator, Marker Wright recently did, go to Twitter and search Couch Pilots Pod. We'll be waiting for you there. We'll be waiting for you.
Right.
Let's take a quick break since we're so far in, and then we'll come back and talk about the pilot of the show.
Sounds good.
So let's listen to a little the song Inside Out. Ever wonder what inspired a songwriter to pen your favorite song? How did they come up with that cool chord progression? Or even how they got into playing music in the first place? Join the podcasting god, Blake Clayton, as he talks to the prolific songwriters in roots music to talk about the song Inside and Out. Join us every other Tuesday at fcfnetwork.com for the song Inside and Out. Also available on iTunes.
I drink away the night.
Thank you, the song.
It's too dark to see.
This show is built on the back of his singing. Global Frequency. Let's break down the pilot, but let's do it with, let's make haste.
Okay, let's make haste.
It opens, it says, hey, spies, experts, ordinary people from around the world save us from threats that we never see. And then we kind of scan the San Francisco skyline. We go down to, like, it's nighttime.
Chinese New Year party.
Yes, something like that.
At first I was like, oh yeah, this is a pilot done in China. I'm going to see foxy gals all night long.
And by foxy, you mean Asian.
Yes, and come to find out, they were in San Francisco. Obviously, Little China or Chinatown.
I've actually been to Little Chinatown and there, and I tell you what, there are Chinamen and women there.
Okay, let's go.
Let us go. So we go into the city at night, and it's like some sort of festival. There's a lot of dragon parade stuff. And then you see a guy sitting at a bar, and he gets up and walks down the street, and he hears a weird noise in an alley. And I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
I'm blocking the camera. A young man walks into an alleyway. It's dark. It's scary. Then he comes across a half of a man.
Yeah, split in half.
And not the half you think. Head to toe half.
Right, exactly. Not just his torso or everything above.
Left side.
And here is the thing: Sean Flynn, cool, calm, collective, comes around the corner, is like, "Oh shit, that's not cool." Then looks down. Oh, there's a cool cell phone ringing.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That cell phone is some sort of weird Star Trek device.
Oh yeah,
right?
It does everything. Everything you could possibly want to do. This phone. It scans. It takes pictures. It's got a webcam. It's got a little microphone in it.
My phone does all that stuff. My current phone does all that.
Oh,
yeah. So
okay.
It looked cool.
In 2005, though, they didn't have that.
You're right. There's a lot of flip phone action. It had it was a really bizarre looking, like Quantum Leap, whatever the hell he talked to in Quantum Leap. Dated reference. Anyway, so this device you're talking about, it starts ringing in his hand. He picks it up, and then you got a control center.
621?
Yeah, hey, 621, where are you? Agent 621. And he's like, hey, he's at half. He's a dead man, and I didn't do that.
That's what was kind of like cool about the character Flynn right off the bat. Like, he was cool, calm, collective.
I feel like he's a guy with absolutely nothing to lose, because if you see a man in half, which no one ever sees, because he was burnt exactly in half. He's sitting there. You pick up a weird device you've never seen before. People start talking to you, and then he gives them his full name. A man with nothing to lose. They may well just ask him for his social security number.
Sure. We come to find out later on that he was a suspended police officer.
Right.
But yeah, it's just cool under pressure. Like, no wonder Molly thinks he's hot.
Yeah, because he exudes confidence.
Yeah, and I don't.
Well, you have to men feign confidence all the time to get what they want. And what do men want?
Vagina.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So he tells him his full name, and then it cuts back to the it goes away to like a university, and it kind of shows this woman there, and you're like, what the hell is this all about?
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of foreigners, and they're up against one of those dry erase boards, and she's like taking her sleeve and like erasing it. I'm like, no, dumbasses, this is the
Beautiful
quantum
young
physics
woman.
of the 746.
That's how I'd explain it too. And she's there, and she gets a call from these people too, and saying, hey, you're part of this global frequency. You're part of this network.
955.
Yeah. Oh, is that her number? 955? She says, you're part of this network of people that help us resolve issues. There's something happening. There's an event happening in San Francisco. I need you to go to meet this dude in the alleyway. And if I was a girl, I'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that.
No. And the thing is she shows up in like 30 seconds, and like she just comes running down.
I have a real problem with time in this.
Yeah, time. Yeah, we'll get to that toward the end too. That comes up again.
But she goes there and she immediately sees this guy in half, and she doesn't necessarily know him. I don't think all these global frequency people know each other. They just kind of rely on each other.
They like, oh, you got the phone. It's like when you had a pair of Jordans for the first time. You're like, oh, he's got Jordans. He's cool.
You nod that dude, say what's up.
It's like people with Jeeps.
Right.
Do the Jeep nod.
The coolest. She sees this guy, and then she starts puking. She doesn't really start freaking out. She's like, oh, that's gross, vomit.
Yeah.
The first guy didn't freak out too much. She didn't freak out. If I saw a guy in half, I'd be losing my mind.
I'd be crying like a little bitch.
Oh my god! She arrives in the alleyway, starts puking, and then she starts working on this metal briefcase. It's full of electronics. She starts.
They're wanting to test the radiation because that's what's going on. That's what
they're getting like it's
Miranda
Aleph.
Zero
Right.
and Aleph have said and told Flynn, hey, here's what's going on.
Yeah.
There's been little spots of radiation. They're getting bigger, and guess what? In an hour, there's going to be enough radiation to blow up a whole block.
Now Miranda Zero and Aleph. Is it Aleph or Aleph or what is it? Aleph.
Aleph.
Okay, we'll say that. This rhymes with bailiff. They are in this dark area, and Miranda's kind of pacing back and forth. She's in charge of the global frequency.
Right.
She's the head of that, and the other girl is sitting there, kind of her tech person, her
12,000
oracle to Batman.
Yeah, 12,000 computer screens. All everything,
Beep, boop, beep.
everything that they would need at their beck and call. Oh yeah, the boopa beeps and the
All
bops.
the boopa beeps.
Oh god, the boopa beeps.
So she's.
But
working on the
Miranda Zero is like a badass. Like she's like, you know what? You answer the phone. He's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And she's like, no
smiling. Just you're doing this at this time. This is what's happening. She's a real taskmaster.
Right. She don't mess around. And at first I was like, she's kind of bitchy. Mm-hmm. But then once I realized the magnitude and the power that she had,
bitches get shit done.
By the end of the show, I'm like, I wasn't planning on doing it with her, but now I am.
How often do you watch her shows and you plan on having sex with
every one of them?
Cut from the briefcase, you got a guy walking into a bar, kind of disheveled, stumbling, some would say. Probably a man in his around 50,
50s.
55. He's wearing a London fog trenching coat.
Oh, he's dizzy. He's sweating. He sits down at this table.
Starts bleeding from the nose.
Bleeding from the nose. All the
change, all the metal.
Yeah, all the jukeboxes flip. I mean, it was a really cool the scene watching the change go all the way down the.
Right.
It was cool, but you could say. You couldn't figure out what his deal was. Like at first, you thought maybe when he came in the diner, you're like, "Oh, he's probably got AIDS or something."
This does a good
tuberculosis.
I would hope he doesn't have AIDS because I don't want him bleeding in the area that I'm eating. If he's got AIDS.
Okay, well, if he's got TB, it's going to be just the same thing.
TB, are you with me?
Damn right I am.
This show does a good job of setting up things that you don't know what's going on, but there ultimately is some resolution. Some shows we watch, you're like, what does that mean? And then you will never find out.
Right. It's kind of like, remember when the Wicked Witch had her butler and you just saw him for 10 seconds?
Yeah. Or how about remember way back on Baffled when they had that little wolf emblem?
Yeah.
And they never really got into what that meant?
Right.
Come on. Give me some answers. So all this stuff starts happening, then everyone's cell phone starts ringing, so this guy starts kind of losing his mind, and he walks out of the place.
Takes off.
And then it cuts back to the alleyway, and it determines at 6:21, Flynn's like, hey, I think this guy that died here, one of your agents, was staking someone out.
Right, because he was using cop context clues, basically.
Right. Yep.
And he was looking and he was explaining all this stuff, and he's like, oh, give me who lived at this address, blah, 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 because this is the only doorway.
Yeah, based on where he was standing, he could see
Right,
this, who's
right.
here. So they get some clues, and then Katrina, the doctor, the female doctor, and Flynn, they start cruising the town, and they get to this guy's apartment, and they kick in the door, and they're looking around. They see.
And you know what? He was straight like, we're noticing this more and more. Fucking just bust them doors
Badass.
down. Bust the doors down. Keith Sutherland knocked 3 doors
in LA
down.
Confidential, yeah.
In a pilot, and already Flynn's.
This guy's a modern day version of that badassery.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna try that sometime. I'm gonna try to bust the door down.
Yeah, I bet it's harder than you would think.
Oh.
Here's the thing: this woman, who's a physics professor, she is in the global frequency. She
Mm-hmm.
is part of this group. This Flynn guy is just hanging around. He literally he must have had nothing to do that night. To be
Well,
like,
he's
you know
like,
what?
because she takes off.
Yeah.
Because Miranda's like, go.
Yeah.
And he's like, does she have a plan? And they're like, global frequency. They don't have to have a plan. And he's
That's
like,
right.
He's like, ugh, shit. I'm just a hot girl. There's a hot girl. I ain't doing nothing. I just got to eat some sushi.
That's right.
Fuck, I'm gonna follow her.
Hey, I guess I do the same thing in retrospect.
I would do the same thing 3 times.
They bust down the door. They're walking around like, hey, this seems like a normal place. But she comes into a room. There's all these clippings and notebooks and photos and
It looked like a
X-rays.
serial killer kind of
It
thing.
did kind of, yeah. And then-
Eyeballs cut out of pictures and stuff.
oh, was there? I
It
missed
was,
that.
yeah, it was weird.
So they're in there, and they're like, hey, what's all this? And they turn around, and the guy from the diner, that's his place, and they see him, and then he says something in Russian, and then he explodes.
And right before he explodes, she pulls Sean into the shower, which this shitty-ass apartment in San Francisco has a beautiful glass shower with the overhead sprinkle.
Ooh, the waterfall effect.
Yeah.
Love
They
it.
get in it. She turns it on. The guy blows this whole fucking place up.
Yeah.
They're okay because something to do with molecules of
Well,
glass.
when they were in the alley in the beginning.
None of the glass was
none
broken.
of the windows
Yep.
were broken, and they say, what happened? Something happened back here to kind of blow this man in half.
Right.
But none of the glass is broken. That's weird, almost like he was dragged here or something. But it turns out that they're thinking about that, and so when they see this guy about to explode, they're like, "This is probably the same event that happened before.
Sure.
Let's go." And I hadn't put it all together yet. In retrospect, again, I understand the logic behind it. But they go into the shower and they turn the water on, and I'm thinking, what?
Weird time for a sex scene.
Yeah, like please insert sex scene here. No, but when they get in there, I was like, are they trying to get wet to avoid the fire? What is the deal? But then you see the explosion, and it turns out it's like it affects biological things or
Right.
something, like only
'Cause
biological
radiation,
matter.
Yeah, it's really.
So behind the glass, they were safe essentially.
So they come to find out. Okay, so this gets done. The guy takes off. The Russian
Right.
guy takes off after he blows the place up.
Yep.
And Flynn is like, "Hey, I think that dude is Russian because right before he blew this whole place up, he said something in Russian." Next thing you know, they find out.
Because I think he's an American guy, but
Right.
now this is cause for concern.
Found his passport. His real identity.
Yep.
He's a Russian dude. Okay, we got to investigate. We got to get people from Denmark. We got to get people from London. We got to get people from all over the country to find out who Jenkins really is.
And this is the scene that John Rogers was talking about, where they get people from all over the world to get all this different information from all these different people, and apparently it was shot in real time.
That's cool.
That's a cool little tidbit.
Yeah, and we do that tidbit before we started watching it. So when that come up, it was kind of
Totally.
okay. So basically, they find out that this guy was part of a Russian Operation Mercury.
Right.
Okay, so that's where you hit the ground running. Okay, we've developed the story, we developed what's going on. Now we're gonna dive into details for everybody.
Project Mercury. They're saying the Russians. They were spending
Russians.
They're spending a ton of money on their space program, but spending equal amounts of money working on different psychic projects. I guess.
To me,
research.
it was like a Russian version of X-Men. Is what they were basically
Right.
doing. Now, this is a very poignant part of the show where 955, Dr. Flinch,
Yeah.
looks at they're soaking wet. They're in a car.
And at this point, honestly, they've been wet more because it's raining outside. And
Sure.
they're running through the rain. They've been wet more than they've been dry at this
And
point.
I was like, already they're going to kiss. It just seemed like the perfect time. Like, what Sleepless in Seattle. I'm like, here we go.
and she's like, hey, we need you for the global frequency.
You
We
are
need
needed. I'm needed. And I wrote this down, and I to me, it's a very poignant part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
It gives meaning to what they're doing, but then it made me think of you.
What's this now?
It made me think of me and you.
How so?
Well, you are needed to make this show wonderful,
Wow.
and I'm needed to make this show wonderful. We are part of the global frequency.
You think so?
I
Maybe so.
love you, man.
I love you, man.
High five.
I love your man. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, my heart is so full right now. Thank you. Miranda Zero, the person in charge of the entire global frequency, she gets the location from some guy about where this guy who worked on Project Mercury.
Right. One of the Russian captures that after the Cold War, they captured this guy. And they've got him in a hidden prison somewhere. And
She's on the phone with this guy. She says, "Hey, where is this thing?" He said, "This what you're talking about doesn't exist." She's
like, "I built it."
She says, "Motherfucker, I built them shits. Now you tell me which one he's at. I know where they all are. I'm not going to waste my time. We got less than an hour at this point."
Right. Missy Elliott would have been really good for this role.
Missy Misdemeanor Elliott? Mm-hmm. Maybe so. Well, can you expound on that a little bit?
Just badass. She hangs up the cell phone.
Helicopters are right
Come
there.
out of nowhere, dude. Someday I want me and you to be on top of a building. I want to shut my cell phone off, and that fucking helicopter just come up and we take off.
Somehow Aleph knows. She's like, "Hey, once you get to the facility, you've got 55 seconds, to get through all the security." And mind you, from the beginning, when they're still talking to them in the alleyway, they says, "Hey, this radiation event is happening in 55 minutes."
Right.
And all this stuff is happening. They're driving around a busy city such as San Francisco.
Right.
They're talking to guys. Things are blowing up. People are bleeding in their waters at a diner. This is all happening in 55 minutes. So she gets to this facility, and is like, again, 55 seconds, and she's casually walking through it, and then she starts kicking people's asses. The techno music starts pumping up. This is extremely like the Matrix.
Sure.
And then even
She had
more
a black
so,
overcoat on too.
yeah, and then they got the scene where the SWAT guys are like running down the stairs with her. It's so Matrix. It's extremely Matrixy. Miranda finds her target and then questions him. She does. She
Oscar.
gets through there. Yeah,
Oscar the prisoner.
Yep.
Oscar, and he was a Russian guy, and he was part of this Operation Mercury. And he explains, they had these people that had extra abilities, and they basically tried to enhance them and make them weapons.
They did that by putting chips in their head.
Well, in this one, his specific thing was chips. There was other people that had different talents or different things that
They're trying to enhance and harness their yeah.
And to me, again, that's X-Men, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Exactly.
The Professor X would spend time with his students trying to mold their abilities to help the good of mankind.
Right. So this guy, this Jenkins, we're gonna call him Jenkins because I don't know his Russian name. Okay.
I do. It was almost Vladimir Putin. It was like Vladimir Putin.
Huh.
It was so close to Vladimir Putin.
They basically put a computer chip in his head when he was younger. This is many, many years ago. And okay, so over time, this chip, it's rusting. It's going bad, and he's essentially a human bomb.
Yeah, he can walk around, and after a certain amount of time of absorbing electricity,
the more electricity or whatever power that he's around, the bigger these hiccups, I guess. These computer
they're
chips.
kind of like hiccups, yeah. Because he can't control it per se, and then he explodes, and then somehow reforms.
Yep.
And that literally is a villain from the Marvel Universe.
Oh, really?
I can't remember his name. Anyway, so we're back at the prison, and Miranda is caught by those same people that they were fighting earlier.
Sure.
Because the colonel or whoever's in charge is like, "Hey, light her up, shoot the hell out of this woman."
Right.
And they miss her, and then they go into the cell, and there she is sitting with this guy, and they're like, they don't shoot her. She's like, "Hey, why don't you call the Secretary of Defense?"
Here's his number.
Yeah, here's his phone number.
Nobody has that number.
No one's got that.
I fucking got it.
I got it right here. Call him up.
I'm Miranda fucking Zero.
Drop this knowledge on him, and he'll tell you what's up.
Exactly. And she says, and you call him, and if I'm lying,
I'm dying.
I'm dying. 2 minutes, you come back and shoot me.
Yeah. Flynn and Katrina catch up with Vladimir, and apparently he's feeding off of the electricity like we're talking about, and he's going to have this big explosion. So they're like, "Hey, we want to help you. Whatever's going to happen, it's happening in like 15 minutes here.
Right.
We need to help you out so no one gets hurt." And then he's kind of like stumbling away from him, and apparently he stumbles into a a power grid which is accessible to anyone at any time.
Right. That doesn't even look like it's used anymore.
Massive generators are going.
Oh, just humongous generators. Just as he walks by them, they start.
Oh yeah.
They start going. And it's a substation basically. Is what
Right.
it is.
Yeah. And he literally just walks in there.
It just happens
like,
to.
through some sort
Do
of
you think
access tunnel.
he was trying to find? He knew where it was. He was trying to go to it because he was trying to kill himself.
Maybe. I think a man at that point where all he was doing is exploding and reforming, that really has to take a toll on a man.
Yeah. I think my life is bad.
Oh,
Not that bad at all.
So Miranda, they go back to her, and she is freed. And then they go back to Flynn and Katrina, and they're in the power grid trying to shut it down to limit the explosion.
Mm-hmm.
They're in there trying to hack into the system to shut it down from that end because Aleph, who's doing all the hacking, she can't reach it. There's
Right.
some sort of blockage where
Sure.
she can't get to it. Flynn's like, you know what? I think I know someone who can help, because they're like, there's a lever that we have to pull, and they show the lever, and to me, why would you put a lever there? Why is a lever so far out of reach and with no way accessibility to it?
It's basically you have to go through this little tunnel.
Yeah.
It opens up into a big, vast room that has a huge turbine blade.
Yeah, like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory kind of blade that
right.
you know they're
And
going
then
to float up into.
over on the other side on the wall is the lever.
Yeah, why would it be there? Who can get to that? For
And-
what reason?
And so Flynn's like, hey, give me the information on this person right here. Why? Just do it.
Yeah.
He runs to her house, I guess,
He's got 15 minutes.
until
You can't do anything in 15 minutes. And he's running back out through this access tunnel that Vlad led him through. He runs to her house, explains what's going on,
He
runs
goes to-
back.
yeah, goes to Miss McKenna's
Liz McKenna.
and says, and she opens the door, sexy Asian.
Boom.
I'm
Super
thinking-
boner.
I'm like, you know what? If you didn't already have me engulfed in your story, now I'm emotionally and physically engulfed.
You've met a milk bonered out.
Yep. He's like, hey, you're needed. Global frequency. Come on, let's go. And she looks at him at first for a second and goes, okay.
Yeah.
You still don't know why is she?
What their connection,
Right.
if at all, is.
He's a suspended cop. 955 is a bio master's degree in every possible thing you could
Yep.
possibly be. What's this little Asian girl going to do? Comes in, she squeezes through the little porthole, does all these gymnastic things because she's an Olympic gymnast.
That's right.
Flips, swoops, goes over that big, huge turbine, doesn't get cut up in it, flops, reaches, hits the lever, holds onto the lever, shuts everything down.
Oh, my God. Saves the day. But they're not out of the woods yet.
No.
Basically, what they've stopped is from this explosion to grow any larger.
Because
the electricity's been turned off.
they've stopped all the electricity to help feed Jenkins.
Now, Miranda Zero, again, the person in charge of
Vladimir
global frequency. Vladimir Pupin, that's right. They go back to Miranda, and she's not on that site. She's at a location away from there, working with Oscar and some other people. Almost it looks like a government facility of some sort. And she's there trying to work this out. Oscar, he like starts writing a bunch of stuff down, and then he hands it to her, and she's like, "Is this the only way?" He's like, "It's the only way."
It's the only way.
It seems like he's writing quite a detailed plan about what to do.
Sure, like there's some kind of way to short circuit it out of his brain or something,
Yeah.
or a surgical thing that they're gonna have to do to stop it.
Get him near some microwave and
Yeah.
sit it on popcorn setting. No, it wasn't that at all.
Nope, just gotta shoot his ass in the head.
Shoot him in the head. That's what they. Why didn't he just say it? Why have to write that down? What could he have possibly written down that couldn't have just been? Gotta shoot him in the head.
Right.
I thought that was silly.
When it's time to shoot you in the head, I'm not gonna write it down. I'm just gonna say it.
And please turn my body into glue, just like a horse. Flynn has a gun. He took it from some police officers outside that had been disintegrated by Vlad earlier, and he's got the gun. He's like, "You need a gun?" He's like, "I got it right here." It's like, "All right, shoot that guy in the head." And he's like, "I'm not going to do that."
No.
He's like, hey, smart guy. There's millions of people in San Fran. They're all going to die.
Unless you kill this
He's
one
like, "I don't
person.
care. I'm not going to kill a man in cold blood."
Right.
It's like, "You got to do it. This is part of being."
It was very
in global-
execution style.
It was, because he was on like his knees, basically, just kind
Right.
of super out of it, like, "Oh
Right.
my God, I can't control this thing." And then he points it at him. He's like, "I can't do it." And then Vlad takes the gun and he says, Please
Right,
do this
just-
immediately.
yeah.
I don't want to live anymore. You're going to save everybody. It's only a win for everyone. Damn your psychological repercussions." And boom, does it. Boom, boom, high five it.
Flynn walks away. One of the best one of the best scenes. Like, just the feel. He's walking away. 955 is watching him walk away, and you just see the pain.
She's milk boning out.
Yeah, she's milk boning out. He's all wet still. They're both soaking fucking wet still, and he was just walking away. Scene cut goes to him standing on the dock.
Next day, looking at the newspaper,
standing on the dock of the bay,
watching the tide
roll away.
Newspaper reads, "Blackouts unexplained," and this is my favorite part. No federal or government agencies involved. Why would it say that?
Right.
Why would they say that? There's no. Who would when I lose power? I'm like, something happened out at the grid or a local generator popped.
Sure.
It does happen on occasion. I don't think. What is the government doing? Why are they have to be involved?
What is the CIA doing with my electricity?
Not the case.
That's why I don't have Comcast. Because it's down every hour. Anyway, so he's standing by the dock looking at the seagulls in San Francisco. Miranda Zero comes up and says, "Hey, you've got something that's mine." He pulls out the phone, hands it to her, and she's like, "Come work for me."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Nope, not there's nope.
I don't trust you."
No, I don't trust you. Which, how can you not trust her? She's a badass.
Oh my god.
And she says, "No, I got a lot of shit when I formed this global frequency, but I knew that ordinary people can do extraordinary things."
That's right, because she can do only so much. She is empowering these people out there to get the job done, and it's working.
She sees that everybody has some kind of talent or something that
they can bring to the table,
right? Like me and you,
right?
If okay, I'm a global frequency. This 6969. That's my number. Okay, now what? Hey, we got this pilot TV show. Never made it to series.
Blake, we need you to watch this pilot TV show. Can you do it?
I'm on it.
Click.
Then I call you.
Hey, this is 6961.
Hey, it's 6969.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Did you catch that episode of Marin last night?
No, I didn't.
I got to go. I got something burning on the stove.
We can't. We got to do a podcast right now.
What?
We got to do a podcast. Global frequency.
I'm on it.
Be over at my house.
Done. And guess what? My pasta burns. So what?
Fuck your pasta.
Effing in the A, man.
It's not about us. It's about everybody else. We are ordinary people that can do extraordinary things, and let me just tell you, global frequency.
Boy, but still, there's turbulence.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
So why didn't the show work?
The show didn't work. There was a lot of information and interesting facts, and from John about the WB.
Right.
Okay.
Some changing of the hands, the merger, the interim president.
Sure. So in this case, for this pilot, I think it had a lot to do with that side of it more so than storyline, which is oftentimes a problem.
When I put the shows together, I have a few little notes here that says, "Hey, ask these questions about the show." And a lot of times it's you and I just kind of guessing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we'll find out things. And now this is definitely a creative person's aspect of what happened. And honestly, it could be very true because I think a lot of things do during times of power changes. Things get lost or swept under the rug or they lose out on things. But this, I feel like, is a pretty honest-to-goodness reason why global frequency didn't work out. Definitely. So I think that's probably why. What would you do to improve the show, if anything?
There was a lot of scientific mumbo jumbo. I know you needed it to explain what was going on, but for a common person, because there wasn't a lot of lull in the show. It was a very bum. But with that bum, there was a lot of times where I had to stop and rewind it because I'm trying to figure out what something means. There's a lot of scientificness.
That's a word. No, don't second guess yourself when making up words. Where would you like to see it go if it had survived?
Oh, they have all kinds of different missions, quote unquote, that they've got to go through.
Especially when you introduce what seems to be...
It's global.
Yeah, you literally have the entire world to work with.
Right.
But they introduce a little bit of, not necessarily paranormal, but like some sort of sci-fi aspect to it where there is exploding people, which is not a real thing.
X-Files, not so, but not so paranormal.
X-Files definitely was more paranormal. You're right.
Right, but I'm just saying it had the same kind of feel.
A more high-tech, stylized...
government.
Yeah.
Government agency kind of bad guys as opposed to ghosts.
Right. Every week, I remember watching the X-Files when I grew up. It was Gillian Anderson, David Duchovny just literally fist-fighting ghosts and different specters.
Hello, to me, it's the same thing as Scooby-Doo. Really, think about it.
Zoinks!
Right, Shaggy.
All right, we're going down.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
IMDb score, 7.7.
Good.
Critic reviews. David Allen Mack from ComicMix.com says there are a number of theories on why this didn't work. One plausible one is that I heard the show lost its rabbi, or the person who championed the show.
Sure.
So this is another person that says that can almost back that up. He says such a setback might be enough to sink any project, no matter how superbly it had been executed. It's also possible that without someone advocating for the show inside the corporate offices of the network, the series' pre-episode price tag was simply too high for someone to take the risk. And you know what?
Yep.
That's a great, because you definitely have people, like I said, the creative side saying, "Hey, this is why this happened." But from the suit's point of view, you're right. We were talking about how expensive this might be.
Special effects, everything was on location. There was multiple sets. Miranda Zero's karate classes. All that shit adds up.
That doesn't cost nothing.
No.
And this is a time
That's a double negative, so that means it costs something.
That's exactly right. That isn't not exactly right. So you've got all this expensive stuff going on, and I think, you're right. That totally adds up and gets you to a point where it's like, is it worth it? Because this is a time where reality TV shows are really popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are very popular, and reality shows, as we all know, cost almost nothing to make. So it's probably harder and harder at this time to come up with a reason to say, we'll spend all this money on this show.
Or we could spend a little bit and have a popular show.
Yep. And he also says that the pilot was flawed because of the staff fumbling the ending. And he says, I can already hear many of you saying, but it was faithful to Ellis's original ending, and that is true. It was a solid ending for a dark, gritty comic book story. And a pilot had been commissioned by HBO or Showtime, but it would have been equally appropriate for that pilot. But this was a pilot, essentially an audition for a network weekly television series, one that has to worry about advertiser revenues and a fickle viewing public, with a few exceptions for the audiences for network TV simply don't like their fare this dark. And it was a little dark. It was a dark ending shooting a guy in the head. It was. Yeah. I mean, who knows? This is just as one guy's take. Viewer reviews, good premise, decent acting, 9 out of 10 scars. Everything good goes away, 10 out of 10 scars. Died before its time, 8 out of 10 scars. Amazing pilot, 9 out of 10 scars. The greatest TV series never made, 9 out of 10 scars. Slight but fun, 6 out of 10 scars. I must have seen a different pilot than other reviewers, 2 out of 10 scars. The cheese stands alone there, my friend. I think everyone seems to enjoy this pretty well.
Except that guy. And I think in just a few seconds, we're going to find out how we liked it.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
We told you what we're watching. We told you when it came out. We put you in that mind frame. We talked about the stars and the people who created what they had to say about it. We broke down the pilot.
We put them back together.
Yeah.
We rekindled friendships.
We brought people together from across the globe.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We heard what the critics said. We heard what the the viewers had to say. Now it's our turn. Blake, I turn to you using our classic Wings scale from 1. All the classic characters from Wings, the television show from the 90s, the 1 being the worst score you can get, so Roy Biggins, all the way up to Faye Cochran, Antonio Scarpacci, Joe Hackett, Lowell Mather, Helen Chappell, or the famed number 7 Brian Hackett. What do you give Global Frequency? It's tough.
I'm giving it a 7.
No, you're not. Are you really?
First ever 7.
Oh my God! I did not expect that.
I'm giving it a 7.
Wow. Essentially a perfect score.
Yes, a perfect score. I'm giving a 7. In 34 episodes, I've never done that.
We talk about this fairly candidly, and I seeing your face during this conversation, I didn't think he enjoyed it to the point of where it was damn near perfect. But you did.
I'm part of the Global Frequency.
Wow.
Bruce Springsteen. It's
you and the boss.
Well, it was a 6, but I had a Buxom Blonde. I gave it a 7. Had great interaction from the actors. I was not bored by this. I was not annoyed by it. in the Turbulence section, we really couldn't talk about anything that was really.
No, I liked it. Yeah.
I gave it a 7.
A lot of people out there seem to like it. I'm right there with you. I'm going to give it a 6.
All right.
I don't think it's perfect. I think there are some flaws there, especially all the timing stuff.
Sure.
There was a lot of timing things, but there's.
It's kind of like the show 24. Like, you never go to the bathroom?
Right. In 24 hours, you don't sleep. You don't
Right.
sit down for a hearty meal. Of course you do.
Oh, I always sit down for hearty meals.
Oh, you got to.
6 and
Wow.
a 7. That's you know what? To be honest with you, there's been only a couple.
This
that
might
have
be the
gotten that
most, the
highest
best
scores.
reviewed show by us,
All right.
for sure. And with that, and unfortunately with that, we close the book on global frequency, but we are not done. Please join us next time when we watch the pilot episode of Korgoth of Barbaria. Here's a little something to wet your whistle. An animated parody of the sword and sorcery genre and follows the exploits of the most feared and physically awesome barbarian the world has ever seen. You can find the entire episode by subscribing to Couch Pilots in iTunes or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube and search Korgoth of Barbaria.
Yep.
It's out there. And spoiler alert, it's really good.
Spoiler alert, it's a cartoon.
So, there you go. There's already a... Don't even listen to next week. You got the reviews right there. If you know about some pilot out there that we haven't heard of, and we've heard of a lot of them.
Yep. You've got a plethora, just lists, a spreadsheet full.
I'll show you the list later. It's about 150, 200 long.
Okay.
Ton of stuff.
I'm still waiting for a specific person to show up in one of them.
Okay. I know who that is, and I think we'll get there. Any questions, any suggestions, any pilot we haven't heard of, send it to couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter.
John did it. John sent us an email.
John, he did. Yeah, he did. Are you better than John Rogers, the writer of Global Frequency?
No, you're not.
No, you're not. Get out of town. If he can do it, so can you. Couch Pilots Pod and Twitter. Follow us there. You will know when we contact celebrities and what their response is to us. Go to fcfnetwork.com. Take the FCF Network Challenge. Listen to all of our shows. There is something that you're going to like there. Maybe a couple of them.
Sure.
Maybe all of them.
There is a large catalog of Couch Pilot episodes, and some of them are really, really good. Some of them are bad. Some of the shows are good. Some of the shows are bad.
Yeah.
But we always have a good time.
Yeah, almost a different way you could say that would be, this pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
I felt good about that.
Yeah, you nailed it.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
This has been a Fakakta Comedy Funhouse production, produced by Jason Tosher, executive produced by Blake Clayton. For more information and content, go to fcfnetwork.com.